Hey guys, so today I'll be teaching you how to design a subwoofer box for your car. So the first thing you need to do is go to your search engine and search for a program called WinISD Pro, and it's the first link. So go to the download right here and go ahead and download it. So while that's downloading, search for the page where your subwoofer is. So once the subwoofer page pulls up, you need to find where it tells you how much volume that your subwoofer needs. So it'll be somewhere on here. Mine happens to be under suggested. And right here it tells me the different volumes that I'll need depending on what style box I'll be using. So I'll be using a ported design, and it tells me I need a volume between 1.5 and 2 cubic feet. So once you have that value, you need to search for the Rockford Fosgate Box Wizard, and it's the first link. So basically what this program does is it helps you determine the dimensions that you'll need for your box. So right here are the different styles. I'll be using a rectangular, standard units of measure, and these are the different wood thicknesses. The most common is 3/4 inch, so I'll be using that, and I'm using outside dimensions. So right here, the height, width, and depth dimensions. In order to find those values, you need to go to your car and measure where you'll be putting the box. So once you do that, put those values in right here, and if you find that the volume of that box is not what you need, you can change one of the values, because say you're installing a subwoofer box in your trunk, so you can only go so high, but your width and your depth can vary a lot more. So just change those values until you get the volume that you need. And I found that mine needs 14 inches in height, 18 width, and 14 depth. And that gave me an internal volume of 1.49 cubic feet, and my subwoofer needed 1.5, so this will work for me. So now go to the program that you downloaded and go to New Project. So right here is a drop-down list of the different subwoofers that are already within the program. So try to search for yours. So I searched for mine and found that it has this model number but not the one that I need. So if you can't find the one you need, you can follow the steps that I'm about to show you. If you already found your subwoofer, just bear with me for a second. So click New, and right here put in the manufacturer name and your model number, and then go to parameters. Okay, so these are the Thiel small parameters. Your subwoofer page will have a table that has these parameters, so go back to your subwoofer page and search for that. Mine happens to be under the specs right here. Okay, so go back to the program and you need to start entering in the values. So the first is the QES and the QMS. For QTS, don't put anything in, just tab through it and it'll turn blue, which means that the program auto-calculated it. So now put in your FS and your VAS and be sure that your units are correct. So for mine, it already has it in liters like the program. If not, you can click through this until you get the units that your subwoofer listed. So go ahead and put that in, and then go to MMS. So once you put MMS in, you can tab through the next two until you get to RE and put that in. And then you can tab through the rest of these until you get to XMAX. So for my specific subwoofer, it did not list XMAX on this table, but every subwoofer manufacturer will list XMAX somewhere. Mine just happens to be right here. So mine is 16 millimeters. And you can tab through the rest of these. It should auto-calculate the rest, which it did. So now you can go down to Save. So go ahead and put in the manufacturer name and the model number, and then click Save. So now you can close out of this. Okay, so now you can get back to new project, and for those that already had theirs listed, you can pick up here. So go to the drop down, search for your subwoofer, you should have it now, and click on it, and then go to next. So right here is the amount of subwoofers you'll be installing. I'll only be doing one, but you can do up to 100. And right here is how you'll be mounting it: normal, which is a description right here, or isobart, there's a description right here. Most people will be doing normal, which is what I'll be doing. And click next. So right here is a different style of boxes. So there's a closed and a vented, a 4th order bandpass, 6th order bandpass, and passive radiator. The two most common are closed and vented, which is what I'll be discussing. The last three are a little bit too complicated to discuss. So a closed box is basically subwoofers that are within an enclosure that's airtight and it's sealed, which is a closed and a sealed box are the same thing. A vented box, which is what I'll be doing, is the same as a ported box, and it has a port, which is essentially a hole inside the box that allows air to flow inside and out. So I'll be doing this design, but your manufacturer will list designs for each. So go to next, and then the alignment, whatever it defaults to, just leave it at that, and then click finish. Okay, so now you need to go to the box tab, and right here is the volume that you found from the box wizard that we used earlier. So go ahead and put that in, and mine was 1.49. So if you're using a closed box, you will not have a tuning frequency, but since I'm using a ported box, I will have one. And your manufacturer will list a recommended one, so go back to the page if you're doing ported. And where it recommended the volume that you need, it should have a tuning frequency, so mine is 35 as a tuning frequency. Okay, so now I'll explain what this graph means. So these numbers to the left, those are decibels, which are our degree of loudness. These numbers down here are your frequencies in hertz. This red line is your 0 dB baseline. This purple line is your negative 3 dB line, which is basically when the human ear can tell that your subwoofers are playing at a quieter volume. So once this gray line goes past this purple line, the human ear can tell that it's playing quieter. And the gray line is the subwoofer modeled in the box that you're using. Okay, so basically what you want is you want this gray line to be as close as possible to this red line. And the reason for that is because it allows the subwoofer to play accurately and how it's intended to play. So see how it's hugging this red line over here? That's what you want. And right here it kind of curves up. So we want to try to get this right here to look more like this. So in order to do that, go back to this and start playing with some of these numbers. So I already calculated my volume. I don't really want to change that, so I'm going to mess with the tuning frequency, and I'm going to choose 30 Hertz. So you can see that the graph already got flatter, which is exactly what I want. For your tuning frequency, a good range is between 30 and 40 Hertz, so just try to play around with those. Okay, so if you are doing ported, you'll have this vents tab. If not, you won't even have to worry about this. But since I am doing ported, I will have it. So these values that are already in this is what the program recommends, but you can still mess with them to see if you like other options better. So you can choose different diameters. So if I choose 3.23, your length of your box of the vent will go down. So if you choose a higher diameter, you have a longer length. And the reason this matters is because my box is not this wide, so I can't fit a vent that is 43 inches long. So I need to choose a diameter that is less so that way I can fit it. So my width was 18, so I can use a vent length of 14 inches. Okay, so the graph looks pretty good now. this is your negative 3D point, and basically right here, this intersection, you want that to be as far left as possible. So mine is at 27 Hertz, which means that there's only a 7 Hertz range to where my subwoofer is playing at a quieter volume. So you want this to be as far left as possible. So the other two graphs that you need to look at are the group delay. And basically what this is the amount of time it takes a speaker to play a given input signal. So you basically want to aim for as low as possible because you want your subwoofers to be able to keep up with the music. So at the peak of mine, it is at 27 milliseconds, and that is at 27 Hertz. So the overall consensus is to aim under 30 milliseconds, with the peak being below 30 Hertz. So my peak is below 30 Hertz, and it's under 30 milliseconds, so mine is okay. If not, you just need to play around with some of these different numbers until you can try to get that to go a little bit lower. I wouldn't worry about it too much though, but just make sure that it's around 30 milliseconds and somewhere near 30 Hertz. So the last thing you need to look at is your port velocity, and if you're sealed or closed, you don't have to worry about this at all. And basically what this is the velocity of the air going in and out of the port. So you want this to be as low as possible because the higher it is, the more noise introduced, and you don't want noise while your music is playing because it won't sound as good. So at the peak of mine, it's at around 8.5 feet per second at 27 Hertz. And the general consensus for this is to keep it below 55 feet per second, and mine's nowhere near that. So you want this to be as low as possible also. If it's over 55 feet per second, it's okay. Just try not to keep it like really high because you don't want noise in your system that you don't need. So just keep that as low as possible. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys learned a little bit, and thanks for watching.